Okay, we are back with another key moves. This one comes from Tim. Tim was playing white here. It's a Trompowsky. We're kind of at the end of the opening, the beginning of the middle game. So if you want to get the most out of this, pause now. Think about what you would do as white in this situation. Maybe take a few minutes. You don't have to do that, but you will get more out of it. Okay, so it's white to play. Looking at the position, we've got a pretty solid position. We're castled, our minor pieces are developed. We have, a nice pawn chain in the center. No real weaknesses, so a solid position. Black's got the bishop pair, but also doubled pawns. So the question is really, what do we do now? All our minor pieces are in the game. We can't really improve our rooks very much right now. So the move we would love to play is c4. Breaking in the center. Starting to chip away at this diagonal for our bishop, gaining some squares for our knights. So positionally, that's definitely the move that is screaming to be played. But there's a problem, maybe, which is that Black has arranged their bishops. So clearly they're planning, if we go c4, to bring this bishop in, and our rook would be trapped. So that seems to be a problem. But then, if we don't play c4, it's hard to see what we can do. Our rooks can't really go anywhere. Queen e2 would just drop the c2 pawn. So maybe we could try bishop h3, but probably this bishop would just drop back. Black probably wouldn't agree to a bishop swap. So it's hard to see what else we can do. So Tim actually here played a great move, c4 anyway. So basically just saying, strategically, this is the move I need to make. So, if I have to sacrifice in exchange, fine. So Black did play bishop b2, and now already white faces another huge choice, which might not be obvious that there's even a choice here at all, but there really is. The choice is we're going to lose our rook, but we can choose which one of these bishops to get for it. And it might seem like the same because it's a bishop either way, but it's actually not, because it's the dark squared bishop and the light squared bishop. And if you think about it, the dark squared bishop can go to 32 squares on the board. The light squared bishop can go to the other 32. There's no overlap. So these are really different pieces. So it's a big decision. So what you should think about as white here is which bishop is stronger, and that's the one we want to force Black to trade. So you can again maybe pause for a minute and think about that. Okay, which of these bishops is stronger? Well, the dark squared bishop is quite annoying right now because it's attacking our rook, but remember, we're losing the rook either way. So if you imagine this rook just like gone, then actually the dark squared bishop's not doing anything, and it's even at risk of being trapped. Whereas the light squared bishop is very well positioned. It's on this nice diagonal, attacking on the queen side, defending on the king side. Actually, without this bishop, Black's king side would be weak. So for that reason, we should play rook b1 to force Black to part with this bishop. So this is where Tim kind of went astray. He went c takes d5. So the right idea, sacrificing the exchange for control of the center, but he could have gotten a much better version of this. After this, he was doing okay. The position was fairly balanced, but really, this is the bishop we'd rather get. So rook b1, and there's a tactical point to this as well, which is that if Black takes right away, actually we could take with a knight, and this covers both of this bishop's retreat squares, and the bishop is trapped. We can attack this with queen c2, knight d3 if necessary. This bishop's going to be lost. So Black shouldn't do that. He kind of has to move the bishop, and now there's going to be a weird little dance between this rook and bishop. We could just take this, but we can go rook c1, and now rook c2. And at this point, Black is really forced to take this rook, because if he drops the bishop back, we would just take the center pawn for free. So you might as well take this. Take. Now we can take this. So now the dust has settled somewhat. We got a pawn for that exchange, and really good control of the center because we've got all these pawns taking up space in the center. We knocked out black center pawn. We've got some nice pressure on the long diagonal here. Actually, it's quite hard for black to get their knight out because right now that would drop the c6 pawn. And we've got some nasty threats here, like knight c4 would be a fork. Another idea in many lines. His Lichess is freezing on me. Okay, it's back. Another idea could be taking advantage of these light squares on the king side that we weaken by eliminating that light square bishop. Queen f5, bishop e4, setting up a battery. And black is probably not going to be able to block this with g6 because we would just sack the knight and come in for a checkmate. So overall, white's doing very well here. More than enough compensation for the exchange. So the takeaways in this one, first of all, I would say never take your opponent's word for it. A lot of times in a chess game, your opponent plays a move where they're in effect saying, you can't do this. So in this position, black is saying, you can't play c4 because I would trap your rook. So they can say that, but they can be bluffing or they can very easily be wrong. And in this case, c4 is a good move anyway. It's the best move. Another one is don't be too afraid to sacrifice the exchange. As far as the material investment, sacrificing the exchange is pretty similar to sacrificing a pawn. You don't want to do it lightly, but it's a lot less of an investment than sacrificing a whole piece like a knight or a bishop. If you're down a piece, that kind of means your opponent's army will overwhelm yours in a fair fight. So if you're going to sacrifice a piece, you need to get usually very clear and immediate compensation, like just a crushing attack or something. If you're going to sacrifice a pawn in an exchange, the compensation can be a little bit more speculative or abstract because you probably will lose an endgame, but maybe the endgame's far away, and you can your army can fight on more or less equal terms until then. So don't take your opponent's word for it, and don't be too scared to sacrifice an exchange.